Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I was doing some work on the C20, but I'm waiting on some parts. So today we're going to change gears and we're going to look at a new tool that I just picked up. So this I found secondhand at a thrift store. This is probably the coolest homemade looking disc sander I've ever seen. It's a nice big disc. I guess that's about an 8-inch. Actually, I haven't measured it. Yep, 8-inch disc. On this really rigid aluminum platform, or platen. Just directly driven off of a big-ass motor. Probably an old Dayton or something. But this thing is really cool. I picked it up for 25 bucks, and I'm super happy. The bottom side, it's got some holes drilled into it. I don't know if that's for making it lighter or if it like doweled into someone's workbench at some point. But yeah, it's all aluminum and super rigid. But there are two big things that I need to fix with this. One of them, which I probably won't do today, is I actually need to raise this table up. Because you can see the center of the disc is right there, and the actual like table here is low. So we want this to sit up at about where the middle is, maybe just a skosh below. You could theoretically lower the motor in because it's on a little stand, but then I need to hog out the inside of this, which isn't the end of the world. But what I'll probably do is find some aluminum stock and just make some like 1/2-inch tall spacers to raise this up. But that'll be for another time because I don't have any aluminum stock. But the big thing is there's no power switch. So if I want to use this, right now I just have it plugged into the power strip, and then I hit the button. And you can just hear how nice and smooth that is. It actually does not too bad of a job. Nice and clean. So yeah, probably change out that sanding disc for something else. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is add a switch to this guy. Also, that has so much mass, it just takes forever to spool down. Alright. So, just raided the stash. Got myself standard little box, basic switch, and nice metal cover plate. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to put this probably right here. That way it's on the like side away from where the sparks and stuff get flung. Since this turns this way, right here, all the sparks are going to be shooting there. So put it on this side. Going to kind of go in through here, have our switch, and then out through there. So I'm going to start by just knocking these guys out. And I might even have some nice little proper things for these holes. Otherwise, I'm going to just use some nice rubber grommets. So I'm going to mark those holes. This is the world's most dried out marker. Alright, those are marked. And after some looking, all I can really find are some metric things. So we're going to tap this out to M4. Start by drilling a hole. That's deep enough. Now for hole number 2. That should be plenty deep. Now we've got our tap and our little tap handle. And yes, I could be using cutting fluid, but aluminum is really soft and you don't really need it. Just make sure you go back every now and then to break the chip. Feel like I'm getting to the bottom. Let's go a little more. Don't want to force it because the last thing you want to do is break the tap. But if it gives the same resistance, you're probably fine. If it gets a lot harder, don't force it. Alright, so now I'm going to back this out. Alright, that's a hole. So now I'm just going to do the other one. Alright, got those holes tapped. So now we're just going to take some M4 machine screws and stick them in. Perfect. Alright, now we gotta get to wiring. So I couldn't find the correct pieces for a junction box, but I am grabbing some grommets out of my stash. Grommet stuff, which should be good enough for this application. And the only downside is, since I don't have the pieces I was looking for, there's nothing to hold the wire into here, so there's no sort of strain relief. So I am going to just be careful with it for now, but what I'll probably do is either drill another hole right here or go off of this guy and put a P-clamp around it just to act as a strain relief. That way nothing's tugging on this out of the box. Alright, and let me see how much I want. There, that's going to go in the box. I'm going to want probably about that much in the box. So I'm going to snip this there, and obviously, you know, unplugged. There's no switch, so it would just be running if it was plugged in. But so now I'm going to just strip this back a little bit, probably about to here. Off, and then what we're going to do is strip these guys. So this is probably 14 gauge. We want a little more than that. There we go. So now two separate. I'm going to actually cut just a little more of this outer insulation off. That way I've got something to work with. think it's kind of hilarious that they're using like twine to make that up. I'm gonna cut that off. Alright, I'm gonna feed that through. Make it a really awkward spot. Feed that through. Then what we're gonna do, twist those together. We are going to use our switch. I don't actually need to make a J-hook. I think I just stab it in on this one because it's fancy. Actually, I'm going to want that. Yeah, no, that's what I want. Alright, now I'm going to do the same to here. Alright, got the other one done up. So, same idea. Going to hook it into its little spot. And tighten it down. Then we're going to take our whites and twist them together. And I'm going to shove a wire nut on there. Alright. Wire nut. That might be too big. I'll probably find a different one. But there we go. I'm just going to tuck all that into the box and tighten it down. And one thing to say, you want to break the circuit on the black side because that is your that's your hot, and then tie your neutrals together. Those are your whites. Alright, got the cover on. It is good to go. So now I'm going to stick it in, turn that on. It didn't blow up. Flick the switch, and kill the switch. And again, and off. So there we go. That's pretty much all I'm going to do today. The eagle-eyed among you may notice that this cable is pretty ragged, and I'm definitely going to replace this. I didn't realize how bad it was until just now, but I'll certainly replace that once I get a new one. But for now, that's kind of the basics of adding a switch to any power tool, or at least any 110 single phase normal household plug type of power tool. So yeah, there we go. Alright, that's going to be it for today. I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. So I just raided my stash, got the basic little box, switch, and a nice metal cover plate. So, just raided the stash.